What's up, DIY Nation? It is Darren, DIY 1978 guy, back with another short DIY video. Probably said this before, maybe not, but DIY knows no size, right? Could be a big job, could be a small job. And actually, I thought I was going to have to do this video in sign language today because right as I came out here to start recording this, two of my neighbors decided it was a good time to cut the grass too. But hey, you got to take the opportunities when you can. Looks like one of them may have shut down, but in the event that they crank it back up and start cutting grass again, I'll just do a little bit of sign language, or I'll do like the Asian movies with the subtitles, and I'll just move my lips and I'll narrate it over after. But hopefully we don't have to do that. Today, what we're going to do is a wheel repair. It's a pretty basic problem. I mean, very, not something that's really, I guess, super common, but it's not super difficult either. Basically, and I'll show you in a minute, but I got a little Toro recycler, 21-inch lawnmower here. It's got the rear-wheel drive with the, I think they call it my pace or the variable pace thing. The farther you push down on this, the faster it goes, so on and so forth. But it drives on the back wheels. The problem that we have with this one is, the person that was using it, apparently one of the wheel bolts backed out and it fell out in the grass somewhere when they were cutting the grass, and we weren't able to find the bolt. Now I could order a new bolt, but that would take a few days to get there, and this is kind of a quick job, a quick turnaround job. So I figured I'd show you what I was going to do in order to do a workaround, right? And it's actually probably going to be a little bit cheaper than ordering a bolt, because by the time you pay for the bolt and pay for the shipping and everything and wait for it, the parts that I got to make this thing is literally only a couple dollars. I guess we're going to contend with the cicadas too. It's their time of the day to start chiming up as well. It seems to be a common problem in all of my videos. No matter what time I film them, the cicadas like to come out and talk. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, we've got all those things against us, but that's the perks of living in a neighborhood and trying to film videos outside. Now, I apologize if I'm sweating. It is probably one of the hottest days of the year over here. It's 103 in the shade right now, over 115 on the again, real feel meter, the what they call the real feel outside, so the humidity's up. I got my fan going back here on low, so you'll probably hear that too, but I'll try to work around all this stuff and bring you guys a new DIY fix that you can do. So let me take you in here and show you what we got. Like I said, this is a Toro recycler, 21-inch. It is the electric start model, so it does have the electric start. There's a battery up inside here, which, albeit, is not very strong. That's also another common problem with these things. They bind up in here and everything like that, but I can do that in another video. But anyway, this is what I was talking about, that rear-wheel drive piece. This is the wheel that goes on there. There's a little spur gear inside here that mates up with this gear. When you push down on this handle, the further you push it, the faster it goes. So it kind of moves at your own pace. If you want to go slow, you can go slow. If you want to go fast, you can go fast. Of course, this is the little cup that thing sits in. Now, I have worked on this before, but apparently the Loctite I put on there was not enough, and that bolt fell out. So we're going to Loctite the hell out of it today. But anyway, this was the wheel that actually had the problem. Same thing on this side, right? Now, what we're going to do is, this is the bolt, is what it actually looks like. It's basically a sleeved bolt. It's all one piece in the original application, but this is nothing more than a 3/8 by 16 pitch. And when I mean pitch, the 16 pitch thread. It's a 3/8 bolt with a 16-inch pitch on the thread there. And basically what I did was I bought some new 3/8 bolts that are just a little bit longer than the original one. We'll cut some of that off. And then I bought these little 3/8 sleeves that one of them is 1.5 inch long and the other one is 1 inch long. So we're going to put those together and basically make one of these out of that. And then of course we've got the Loctite thread locker, the wasp and hornet spray, just in case we have some neighbors that want to come over here, or some friends that want to come play with us. Can't stand those things. And pretty straightforward. And then a razor blade if I don't know what the razor blade's for. Right now I just use it for opening packages, but Anyway, so I'm gonna get this thing set up here real quick and I'll show you what I'm about to do. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna give a shameless plug to White Castle. That's who I'm wearing today. I don't know if you guys have ever had White Castle hamburgers. They are not sponsoring this video in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, this is a shameless plug. I love White Castles. I grew up on them. If you haven't tried them, they're the best little mini burgers around. But anyway, you can find them in your freezer section. But back to this. So here we go. We've got the wheel, which goes on the back. Again, spur gear that comes through. This bolt goes through the front of it, and then there's a washer on the back that basically shims it. This screws in the spur gear, connects with the drive gear, and of course drives the wheel. So what we're going to do with this guy is basically these sleeves will actually fit up inside here, and I'll show you the part numbers for these as well. These sleeves actually will fit right up in here so that the wheel can rotate on the sleeve. However, the 1.5 inch sleeve is just a little bit short of the outside of this thing. So I got the extra 1 inch sleeve, which if I need to, I'll trim down to make just a little extra come out of there, so that when I lock down this bolt, it doesn't crank down on the sleeve so tight that it actually binds the wheel up, because we don't want to bind up the wheel. But as you can see, if I put these things on here, this will go right through there. And of course there'll be a washer on the back side of here to keep this from going too far in, but that bolt will just be locked out just a little bit, just enough so that this thing can rotate on there without coming apart. So that's the end goal, and that's what we're going to try to do here. So like I said, this bolt is just a little bit too long, so what I'm going to do is actually get it fitted up and everything, get it up in place, and then determine how much of the threads I actually need to cut off once I back this piece out. So let me get a couple of parts here, little washers and whatnot, and then we'll start to mock this up and see how this goes. Be right back. Okay, so what I did, I got a 3/8 washer basically, or maybe just a little bit bigger than a 3/8 washer to go on here, and that is what is actually going to lock up against the sleeve. And of course, when we put it up inside the wheel, that's going to ride on the inside of the wheel. Now the problem is, and I'm going to show you in a second here in real time, the problem is with just the washer in there and that sleeve not protruding a little bit past here, right? When I go to tighten down this bolt, I can tighten it down to a certain degree and keep it loose, but if I want to tighten it down enough to where it's snug, what'll end up happening is this wheel will bind up and it won't be able to rotate all the way, right? So right now I've got it loose. Of course it'll rotate just fine, but as I tighten it up, and I know I'm going against my rules here using hand tools, but as I tighten this thing up, it starts to get really, really tight. But you want the bolt tight enough to where, you know, it's not going to come out or anything. Plus we'll have the Loctite on there. Also, looking back in here, this is another reason why I have to trim the bolt. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get, that bolt is protruding out of there, so when I go to adjust the wheel height or something like that, that bolt's going to hit, so I do have to trim that back too. So essentially what we're doing is just making a new setup here, right? And that's what that additional sleeve is going to do for us. Now, as you can see, I don't really need that much extra of that sleeve, so I only have to trim off just a little bit. But I'm going to try to make something, some kind of a shank or something that I can put it in to where I can cut down just a little bit. So basically, if you're looking at this, right, with this all the way in there, make sure that sleeve's all the way down. I need, what, about maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of that other sleeve to go in there, just to protrude enough to where this thing will lock down tight against that sleeve, but the wheel will still roll freely. So let me get this all set up and I'll show you how I'm going to cut it down here. Be right back. Alright, let's see if I can move this back here so you're not just looking at my stomach the entire time. You can kind of maybe see me talking at the same time. So again, here we go. So there's the bolt sticking out, and there's the additional sleeve that we put on there, right? You can see how much it's sticking up. Now, if you wanted to make a precision cut to get that flush, with this, using a magic marker is not really the best way to do it, right? You'd probably want to get something with a scribe that you could scribe that flush so that when you go to cut it, you're cutting right at what would be the base. However, we want a little bit of that sticking out, again, for the purposes of being able to keep just enough slack so this wheel can float without being loose. So what I'm going to do is basically just go around this thing. Can you see that? I'm going to go around this thing with a marker, and then basically I'm going to cut right above the line of my right above the black line that I drew on there. And what I'll do is, you can see that'll keep me just a little bit protruding past the face of the plastic on here, and that should give us, like I said, roughly about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch or so of extra sleeve to protrude past there. So let me get this set up and cut, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty, what you're looking at here is Darren's do-it-yourself lathe, essentially. This is a makeshift way of doing this cutting. I want to try to cut this thing as flush as possible, so I don't have obviously a big shop with a lathe or anything that I can cut it down real easy, so I actually have to use old school methods of doing things. I've got my die grinder with the cutoff wheel on it. I've got the sleeve that we want to cut chucked up in my drill, and my drill sitting here in the vise, right? Again, always wear your safety equipment. You never know when stuff's going to fly off and hit you, so safer is better. Do this at your own risk. But essentially what I'm going to do, I got a piece of Velcro. We're going to hold this drill open just a little bit, just enough to get it to spin while we sit there and cut. And the point is I want to get this thing to make an even cut all the way around as I go through. Of course, part of this does rely on me being able to keep my hand steady, so we'll do that as good as possible. But you know, what did they say? It's good enough for government work. It should work. So let me get this drill going, and we're going to get to cutting here. So my apologies when you hear the compressor kick on. It's going to be kind of loud, so we don't need to go too fast on the drill. Just need to have it spinning. And I'm going to brace myself here. Getting a nice cut in. Trying not to cut the face of my drill at the same time. Not a very straight cut, but there it goes. All right. Blow the stuff off the camera there. That's probably pretty hot. It is. There's the piece. We're going to go ahead and clean that up. I'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. So here we go. We've got our new fresh cut sleeve that we've made. As you can see, it's basically right above the if I can find the black mark, there we go. It's right above the black mark. We stick that on and we're golden. We are literally right above the top. Now I'm also going to have there's also a washer that goes in there as well. That's also going to take up a little bit of slack, but as you can see, it is literally right past the edge there, so it's perfect. When I tighten it down, this wheel will be able to rotate on these sleeves. Of course, I'll put a little oil in there, but it won't bind it when I tighten it down. So what we can do is go ahead and do a little bit of a test fit here. Let me bring you over here with me. All right. So we'll do a little test fit. Here's the washer that goes on the outside of it. So that actually goes, it sits up in this cup. That's what basically holds this cup on, which is just a protector. So we'll go ahead and snug this thing down and get it started. There we go. And as you see, it's tight, but the wheel rolls free. It's tight, the wheel rolls good and free. So now all I have to do is trim back just a little bit of that thread on the outside of that bolt, and we will have us a new bolt and sleeve to mount this wheel that we can load up the Loctite on, and that's what it looks like with the two pieces of the sleeve on there. So let me go ahead and mark this down, and I'm gonna give this a cut, and I'll be right back. What the heck, I'll take you in here to show you what I'm doing. So I don't know if you can see it, there's the black mark. I already started cutting. Now interestingly, I was wondering why my die grinder was kind of dying down when I was cutting that sleeve. Previous video I adjusted the regulator on the compressor down to 40 psi and totally forgot that that was the case. So no more of the problem. Here we go with the steady hand here. We're just gonna cut this bolt off. Good and hot. There you go, cut off. And what I do is I actually round off the edges so it helps to make the thread in a little bit easier. I am going to put a thread chaser on there just to make sure the threads are good, and then we should be good to go. Be right back. Alright, so I've got the solid vice grips over here, or the knockoff, I don't know what the heck kind these, oh, Duralast, these are the AutoZone brand. But anyway, again, not another sponsor, maybe one day. But I also got a, this is a 3/8 by 16 pitch nut that we're going to see if we can thread on here with the socket, and just basically use that to clean the threads. You can tell how good of a job you do rounding this off by how easy the nut goes on there when you get ready to put it on. Now this one's going to be a pain since I have it up next to the camera, but anyway, there we go. Spins right on there. Perfect. Okay, so now we are going to get a little Loctite on this guy. We got to put our washer and our two sleeves. There's one right there. Here's the next one right here. Oh, what else I need? Some grease. Put us a little bit of grease around this sleeve here just to make that wheel rotate a little bit better. We're not getting the shot down. Okay, that's fabulous. And there we go. Make sure we get that out of the threads there. And then we're going to set us a little bit of Loctite on here, or thread locker. This is the thread locker blue. With enough of this, it should be good. Sets in 10 minutes for 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch fasteners. That's a 3/8. So we should be really good to go. Oh look, it even says mowers. Huh, didn't even notice that. Learn something new every day. All right, so this is supposed to be a multi-time use, but you know, they'll dry up and actually can't even get the darn lid off of it. There we go. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take you over here. I'm gonna get set up over there and then we're gonna do this so we can pop it right in. 1 second. Well, y'all almost got me. Thank you to the guy way in the back over there. I don't know who he was, somewhere in the crowd back there that was yelling, "You forgot to measure twice and cut once." Or in this case, measure twice with the bolt length and make sure that we have the right length. So thank you to the guy way in the back who yelled that. I almost forgot. I get a little ahead of myself sometimes and forget. So yes, we are going to put this in here. Let's throw this washer on, just like that. And we're gonna set this in here. We're gonna make sure that we can lock this down and it doesn't interfere behind the wheel set there. All right, we're good and tight. Good and moving around. Let's see how much we got sticking out. Practically none. That's good. You can move the wheel up and down. Perfect. All righty. Yeah, there really isn't much sticking out. Probably could have left just a hair more threads on that thing, but now we get to do the whole thing. Let's take that off of there. All right, we got this and that. This is gonna go on like this. And there's not a whole lot of thread sticking out of there, but there's not a whole lot of room behind it either. So go ahead and clean these threads off and get this Loctite ready to go. Shake it up. I cut my finger picking up the razor, chop that off, spill it everywhere. Now I got Loctite on my truck bed. All right, so we're just gonna dab a little bit of this on there. All right, let that sit on there for a minute. I'm gonna put this on like so. Now this lines up with this hole right here, so we actually got to set this in just like that. And we're going to snug this thing down, and we got us a free spool and wheel. Looky there. And here comes the cleanup part of it. Now put that back on there so that can never be used again because it'll probably dry up before I use it again. You know, use the part of the napkin that has the Loctite on it to clean the sweat off your nose. And let me go ahead and throw this over here. And we'll go ahead and put the other wheel back on while we let that set in place. This is pretty straightforward, just the same exact process here, except we're going to use the original bolt. Oh yeah, we do need the Loctite for this one too, so that it doesn't come out. So let's go ahead and feed that guy through there. Ooh, you know what? Thank you, whoever yelled grease. Get some grease on here. Man, you audience members are fantastic. It's almost like I can hear you saying it. All right, so we're poking through. We got that. And you can see on the factory one, there really isn't that much longer thread sticking out of there. Let's go ahead and line this thing up. Oop. Yeah, you guys are great. You forgot the Loctite. Amateur. Yes, I did. I'm trying to rush just to, because it's hot out here, number one, but number two, hoping nobody starts up a lawnmower or something, but number three, it's also getting dark and you guys aren't going to be able to see for long here either. So this is why you always take your time when you're doing this, because you can miss something that is of importance and then you got to take it all apart to do it again. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna ratchet. Of course, this isn't the same size head. I think that one's a 13. Let me get the 13. I think that was a 13. Let's see. Bingo. All right. Let me snug this down. Would you guys keep quiet out there? Come on. I'm trying to film here. Yeah, that's what I thought. Me and the cicadas got a understanding. There you go. Free spooling, good and tight. We're going to let that Loctite happen. Apparently the user of this had this thing set improperly. That's okay. And there you go. We now have a working lawnmower with bolts that are not going to come out of it. Again, this was a real simple fix. I mean, it wasn't too difficult. I'll show you the part numbers here in a second. But yeah, use the Loctite on your arms so it'll seal up your pores. You'll quit sweating. That's a pro tip. And let me go get the wrappers and everything for this stuff, and I'll show you what I used. Explain the parts again one more time, and then we'll sign off. Be right back. Okay, welcome back. Here we go. So, 3 parts that I needed to do this, if you don't include the Loctite. But anyway, the first one is just a standard. This is a 3/8 by 16 pitch, 1.5, 2-inch long bolt. Now I'm questioning myself. I'm gonna have to get, it's either, I think it's 2-inch, sorry. Yes, it's a 2-inch. I had picked up the 1.5 originally. It was too short. This is a 2-inch, 3/8 with a 16 pitch. That's the bolt that's long enough. Again, I probably cut off maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, just a little less than the size of the sleeve that I needed. These are the little steel sleeves that I used. One was, again, 1.5 inches long. The other one was 1 inch long. There is, so the 1-inch long spacer, I got these from Lowe's. That's that guy right there with the part number on it. I hope you can see that. I'll put them in the description so you guys have them. And then of course, this is the one for the 1.5 inch spacer, which, you know, when I chopped it off, there's the lot and the part number, if you can read that. Again, I'll put these down in the description, but very simple, but very effective. And again, the thread locker number 242 blue that I use for this. So what'd this take? About 30 minutes tops to fix. Fairly common problem. I mean, if you don't, like, once you remove these for the first time, when you go to put them back in, if you don't Loctite them, or if the Loctite has come off of them, you know, just the sheer vibration of these things when you're cutting grass and everything, they can, you know, loosen up and back off. I know that they were snugged up the last time I put them on, but I didn't put Loctite on them because it looked like it had enough on it. This time, they're gonna stay put, and we saved ourselves some money by doing it this way, instead of, like I said, ordering a custom bolt that's made for this thing that would have taken a few days to get here. Would have cost about $4 or $5 plus shipping, which probably would have been about 30 bucks, you know, because their shipping's just ridiculous. But a couple of minutes and we knocked it out. So I hope this helps somebody out there do a similar type of job. Again, when we do DIY, all right, sorry about that. One more issue with the GoPro. This is it. I better do this before the darn thing shuts off again. What is this, 20 minutes of filming, and the darn thing got too hot and shut off. But again, another video coming for another time. But anyway, DIY Nation, I want to thank you very much. You guys are great. I love the support. I love the comments. Please like and subscribe down below. Keep letting me know if you got ideas. There's all kinds of people that are reaching out to me with ideas for videos and everything, so we ought to have some interesting videos coming up over time. But again, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Try some White Castle hamburgers while you're watching this. Go good with a beer or maybe a little rum and Coke or something like that. But anyway, thank you very much. I'll see you guys on the next video. DIY 1978 guy. Peace out.